All right, today we're talking with Arberie. She grew up in the pizza industry. Her dad owns a pizza shop still, and she grew up in it. She left to go do some hospitality in the hotel restaurant space and then decided to come back to the pizzeria and open up her own shop. This podcast is interesting because we talk about a couple things that I'm really interested in. Number one, taking over an existing pizza shop. Second generation pizza shop is a easy way to kind of start a business. They have most of the things set up. Gas is in, electric's in, they have a hood in. But how do you do that? Do you take over the name? Do you close it down and start fresh? And if you do that and you paid for that business, like, do those customers retain? We talk a lot about that. We also talk about how she uses Slice phone to answer all of those phone calls because they get a ton of phone calls on Friday night. And Slice has this new program where they'll answer the phones for you if you're part of their family membership. I'm super interested in that because when I opened my pizza shop, the one thing that I didn't enjoy doing was answering phones. And if that process can be dealt with in a good way, right? Not someone who's rotating, someone who knows my business and works with my business and can answer the phone just like they would if they were in the shop, but with no stress and no pressure, game changer. We talk about that and how it's worked for her in her business. So if you're interested in those two things, you are going to enjoy this episode right before we talk about how you can make some more money with Slice referrals. Slice has something great. It's called Slice Referrals, slice.com/referral. If you want to make up to $2,000 just by referring your pizza friends to sign up for Slice, you can make $500 when they sign up for online ordering, and then an additional $1,500 if they sign up for Slice family membership or the point of sale system. This is a great way for you as the pizza shop owner to make some extra money just by telling your friends about Slice. Great point of sale system. The family membership also has phones, boxes, online ordering, a website, all that stuff that's going to help you kind of not have to worry about the tech or the phones answering because that's a big pain in the butt. We all know that. And if you're a pizza shop owner, you do as well. So sign up for that and then tell all your friends about it. Go to slice.com/referral. There'll be a little sheet in there. You have to fill out some information about your friend and what the name of their pizzeria is. And then when they process their first order, boom, you get paid. $1,500 or $2,000 just by referring people you know to Slice. Again, slice.com/referral. That's where you send them. Arbery, welcome to the podcast. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your day and joining me today.
Thank you so much for having me, Bruce. This is a pleasure.
I'm excited to talk to you. You got a lot going on. So tell everybody real quick before we get into the conversation about pizza, a little bit of your background and what you guys are up to.
Okay, my name is Arberie Karasika. I am the owner of Amadeo Pizzeria in Secaucus, New Jersey. I actually grew up in the pizzeria business. My dad has had a pizzeria since I was 5 years old.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's in my blood. It's in my veins, mine and my brother's. So
you grew up in the pizza shop. I've talked to so many people who have had that same scenario, and they either grow up in the pizza shop and then they just continue, or they leave, try to do something else, or think they want to do something else, and then eventually just end up coming back to the pizza shop. Which one are you?
I left.
Okay.
I went into hotels for almost 20 years.
Okay.
I've been in hospitality. I actually had no intentions on ever running or opening a pizzeria or a restaurant because in a weird way, I loved it so much, but at the same time, it was just so time consuming. And
Yes.
I felt like, I didn't really want to deal with that world of, all of that pressure that you're under. I did go into the hotel world. I mean, I was managing properties. I did a lot. I did pre-opening, and there it's very similar. It's no different than running your own business when you're managing the staff and then, going into operations. It's a lot. So, I did a little bit of both of the same thing. And then around COVID, I would say, was when my husband and I kind of were like, we were both let go. So we both work in hotels, and we ended up going back to the hotels, to the same properties. They did bring us all back, but during that time and that time that we had off for those 13 months or so, almost 2 years, it was a lot of thinking, and something that what do you think we should do? Because if this happens again, which God willing, it never will happen again, what do we have to fall back on? And, I grew up in this industry. I knew the pizzeria. And during that time, pizzerias were really the only ones that were open
Right.
and running, which was fantastic. My dad it was a blessing to see his business still open and thriving. In fact, they got even busier during that time because fine dining was closed and, everybody was just fast food, pizza. I mean, there's nothing better than pizza.
True.
And so, for a few years, we were looking into it. And I also kind of looked into, I have two brothers and my parents, like we've been in this our whole lives. I'm the only one that ventured out and did hotels, but I wanted to go back into the pizzeria industry and kind of re figure the operations, if that makes sense. Because of my hotel background, I thought that there was a way to change the dynamic of pizzerias.
Okay. So you want to do it a little
I go
differently than your
in,
parents did.
right. So I go in with this hotel management mentality, like I'm here creating checklists for everybody, drivers included. And people are like, "What are you doing? This is a pizzeria." I'm like, well, it's just something that I've been accustomed to, and I feel like everybody needs something like that to help them get through the day and really do their job well. I found that it does help. It helps the employees. Everybody's a lot happier. It's great to have.
Definitely. I have two things. Is it the same? So is it your dad's restaurant or did you open a separate one?
No, I opened my own.
Okay. And like, I agree with you. I talk to a lot of people who are on the podcast, right? Who have successful businesses, because success is different for all people. But they have businesses whose people think are successful and have multiple locations. And a lot of people are like, how do they do that? In checklists, in writing things down and having systems in place, like you just said, is the only way to do that. You can have a pizza shop where you're the owner operator and making all the pizza, and it'll be good, but you'll never be able to like step out of it.
Yep.
Unless you have the systems. Agree. Yeah, because that's what makes it able for someone to hop in and be like, all right, what am I supposed to do today?
Right. No, I completely agree. I mean, you see such a big difference with everyone, with your counter staff that's answering the phones. It's something such as like something so small as, wiping down the salt and pepper shakers. And I always, I'm a big believer in, if I walk in and I see you sitting, that means there should be nothing to do.
Right.
Everything has to be done. Everything should be full. Everything should be clean. There's always something to do. And I feel like when everyone has a checklist, they always have something to fall back on. So, I came into this with that whole hospitality mentality, and I feel like it's working. It's incredible. I have so much great feedback from the customers. They say, the employees are fantastic. They're always so kind. They're so helpful. And I love that. Like, we're trying to build a team of happy employees. People that want to work there, people that are happy to come to work, people that enjoy what they do. I don't need somebody just come. I mean, yes, obviously some drivers, we all know they come in, they do it for some extra money or tip money, and they have a second job, or they have a full-time job. They do this on the side. I get all that. I've done that. I've done it with my parents. But it's always so nice to have something that is, for them to just really follow and be able to understand what they have to do.
Yeah, I love that. How long have you been open now?
Almost 2 years.
That's great. Congratulations.
Thank you.
I think the first 2 years are like the hardest, because you're trying to build up. Was it an existing pizza shop, or did you open from scratch?
So it was an existing pizza shop. There's a little bit of an interesting backstory. It was like a restaurant pizzeria.
Okay.
My back dining room holds 14 people. I have outdoor dining in the rear, which is about, easily could fit 50, 60 people outside, and about 15 in the front. It was owned by an Italian family for, I believe they said, almost 25 years.
Oh, wow.
And something happened to them, and then the building ended up going up for sale. Someone had purchased it, had the pizzeria for a year, decided to sell the business. And we took it over, and it was a lot. I'm not gonna lie, it was a lot, because I came in with, like I said, with this whole new perspective on the pizzeria business. I mean, you know how pizza is, and you know how hectic it can get. We had a lot of customers that were previous customers from the most recent business that were like, this isn't the recipe I've been eating the last year. And then we had people that were their customers for those 25 years and that are like, oh my God, you brought back the food we used to love here. And they're so happy and they're coming back. So it's a lot of those, old school residents that have been there for so many years that are just so excited because it's pizza, but I also have a lot of restaurant food. My dad did do fine dining as well, and I
Okay.
was there for many years. So it's a lot that I'm just trying to put all together and then do, the whole modern pizza with, I know you saw one of my pictures with the ricotta cheese and the mini cup and char pepperoni. I think that was the one that, you had seen on the Instagram.
Yes.
So doing things like that is also bringing in a lot of the newer generation, the kids. They see these videos on TikTok and then they see my pizza and they're like, oh my God, I want to try this, and they love it. So it's the first 2 years, like you said, is very rough. I'm still getting, I mean, 2, 3 days ago, I had customers that came inside and they're like, I'm a long time listener, first time buyer. And I'm like, oh my God. Like,
The pressure.
it's been almost 2 years and this is your first time. That's pretty wild. But it's so nice that they're giving us a chance.
Yeah.
There's also, the competition that's there. I know there's 2 other pizzerias that have been there for many, many years. And I went to the one almost every day when we closed the pizzeria. We did like a full cleaning. On my way home, I went to the other place. I grabbed a slice every single day. They were such nice people. The food is good. The other one, I heard great things about the owner. I went and I introduced myself, and he found that like he said, I've been in this town for so many years. Usually I go and congratulate new owners. This is the first time someone's ever come to me. And I was like, it's healthy competition. Like I've eaten at both of your places. I can't serve 68,000 people
Right.
in the town of Secaucus. It's so nice to work together. The town has been so great. The people are great. It's just a matter of, we're still new. So people are still in that like trial time for us. But
I like it. Pizza's so unique too. Like it's so simple when you think about what it is, but I could give you the same exact ingredients that I'm going to use to make a pizza, and it'll come out completely different.
that is so true. That is so true. And I think a lot of that also has to do with everything. I mean, your ovens,
Yeah.
it could be 2 minutes that your dough is outside longer than somebody else's, and you fail there. A lot of, there's sometimes we're so busy. I don't want to shut the doors, and I'm like, all right, we got to make dough, and you got to put more yeast, and you got to leave it out longer, and put it by where it's hotter, and it's a lot. And people, sometimes they're like, wait, this doesn't taste the same. I know, but we're really trying to make it exactly the same. You're right, and you're right about the recipe. I I don't want to say stole, but I took my dad's recipe. He had no idea that I opened. I kind of did it and was like, surprise. And he was, he was so proud. My brothers, my mom, everybody was just like, I can't believe you did this. And they helped me a lot. They helped me with everything. The sauce recipes, things like that. Like I said, we've been in this my entire life, but towns are different. My father's been in Hoboken. I don't know if you're familiar with Hoboken.
Yeah, right across. Hoboken's right across from Manhattan.
Yeah,
Right?
so he's been there almost 30 years now. And his pizza is incredible. Everyone in the town loves his pizza. I felt like I took the same thing over. And in the beginning, people were kind of like, some people, and it's interesting, right? Your taste buds all matter. Some people say, this sauce is way too salty. And then
Yeah.
an hour later, I had two women sitting down eating, and they were like, "Did you guys put any salt in the sauce?" And I laugh, and I'm like, I look at the girls that are there, and I'm like, the other one just said it's too salty. They're saying there's no salt. So everyone has different taste buds, and I did a little bit of tweaking of the sauce of the dough, and then the ovens are also a huge factor in that as well. I have different ovens than my dad has, so you have to be careful with the way the ovens cook the pizza. We had to figure out that you had to cook them on the screens for much longer before you take them off. Otherwise, so in the front, I have an Il Forno,
Okay.
the baker's pride, and then in the kitchen we have a Marcel oven. I have two pizza ovens.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so like I said, that business that was there before for the 25 years, they were so busy on the pizza, they ended up getting a second backup oven. And the Marcel is amazing. I mean, when we're busy, Friday nights or during lunch is great because we have a lot of corporate clients in Secaucus. We have a lot of, I don't know if you know this, but there's a lot of entertainment networks that are actually based out of Secaucus. That's
Okay.
where they are. So they order huge catering orders. I'm blessed that I have both ovens because I'm able to work with both and get it out to them on time. They like to order around, right when you're open, 11,
Yeah.
11:15, and it's like I'm able to get it to them. So that's a huge plus.
So you use the screen, because someone's gonna ask about that. You use the screen on the bottom on a brick oven, so it gets a little bit more air on the bottom, so the bottom doesn't burn before the top cooks, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
And also so that the inside is cooking evenly. They weren't using screens before, which I found a little interesting because when they were cooking, they were burning on the outside, but the inside was full of dough because the pizza wasn't cooking properly. And, also my dad has used screens his whole life.
Yeah.
So when I brought the screens over, I'm like, this is what we're doing. I don't want to hear anything. But yeah, we use the screen.
I mean, I've seen a lot of people do that. Some people do it in the beginning. Some people do it at the end. I've seen it quite a bit, especially with those, like even the new Pizza Master ovens where they retain their heat. They get so hot so quick. Sometimes you got to slow that process down a little bit in the bottom. But I've seen it's pretty common. What's the name of your dad's place? Do you want to give a shout out to his shop?
Yes, my dad is Rosario's. He's in Hoboken. He's actually going through a major renovation right now, so you can't sit there inside. You can order to go. You can order for delivery. But he is eventually going. He's doing a huge renovation, and we're so excited for that because it's going to be so beautiful. I feel like he's been such a staple in that town, and it's going to be incredible when it's done.
That's great.
It really is.
So you took over an existing pizza shop. You didn't close it all. You just kind of took over. Did you work there a couple of weeks beforehand just to obviously get training and see what it's like?
I did, and I hated being there because it's really.
Did you, after a day, you're like, all right, that's enough. I could just take over.
I was there for the 2 weeks, and it was like, I think what everybody thought when I went there was like, this girl has never worked in a pizzeria in her life. And I'm talking about like the pizza guy, the chef, the counter staff. I think they were like, you have that image like, oh, this person just doesn't know what to do, so they're just buying a business. And that's not the case. My husband and I have worked really hard, and it's like, to come up with something to put together for our family. And I went in, and it was like 2 weeks of them telling me, this is what we do, this is what we do. So I had looked at them and I said, well, can you guys tell me how you make your pizza sauce? And they're like, what are you talking about? And I'm like, what do you mean? What am I talking about? Like, how do you make the pizza sauce? Because I take the sauce out of a can and I put it on the pizza. And I was like, what?
That's it?
What are you talking about? But they did well. I mean, I was there for 2 weeks and they did really well, which I was impressed. It's a great town, people, I feel like food and customer service goes hand in hand. I feel like neither one is more important than the other. And when you have one and the other, in a way, you're always going to have those repeat guests. But I took over. It was a different name.
Okay, so you changed it.
I did change the name. I changed the awning. We painted the place. We cleaned it up. The back, you couldn't sit outside. You couldn't sit in the back. We redid the entire back dining room. I mean, we put TVs in the back. We're trying to modernize the place. It is a restaurant, pizzeria, but we want more of a pizzeria setting. So, when there's football games or baseball games, we have some customers that come, they love to sit in the back. We closed for what we thought was going to be 3 days, and it ended up being almost 2 weeks.
Oh, okay, to do all of that transition.
That was a lot of deep cleaning, painting. There was just a lot of things that we changed. And, we were looking for the name we picked out right before we had fully closed on the place and purchased it. But yeah, we ended up closing almost 2 weeks to clean up the place and really put it together.
That's interesting. Did all the customers, so you closed for what you thought was 3 days, ended up being 2 weeks, which is always the case, right? It always takes a little longer than you think. Did all of the customers that were customers of that pizzeria, did you like retain all of them, or was it kind of like, all right, this is a new place now, let's go try it out and see what it's like?
It was a little bit of both. It was a little bit of both. I did keep a lot of them, and the way the town works, like where the pizzeria is, we're on what you call the north end of town.
Okay.
It's almost like the dead end of the town. So, but when you drive into where we are, you go towards the high school, you go towards the middle school, you go towards the town pool and the elementary school. That's where it is. And there's no out after you pass our pizzeria. If you go all the way to the end, you have to come back to get out of town. So we did retain a lot of them. I feel like we gained a lot more that stopped going after that family closed from the previous one that was there for 25 years. I feel like it was almost like it was their family in a way. So, when they were gone, a lot of them just never really went back. So we did retain, we gained a lot more. There were some that, in the beginning are like, what is this? This isn't the same I've been eating. And I'm like, well, I'll give you an example. Our pizza, like our veggie pizza, everything is fresh. Like I cut the green peppers, I slice the onions, everything is fresh. It's fresh tomatoes, fresh roasted peppers. There's nothing canned. So there were times that customers would be like, these vegetables have no flavor, but that's because they were being given vegetables out of a can full of MSG.
Right.
So it's like, yes, I understand, but I can't. It's not our brand. I don't give canned vegetables. It's fresh vegetables, But then when people started seeing that it's quality products, high quality ingredients, they were like, okay, well, now I see why the vegetables don't have a flavor. And it's like, well, it was a little difficult in the beginning, but I feel like they understood. And I mean, I feel like we're becoming a huge staple in the town. We have a lot of people that come in. They're like family. I know. I mean, I'm huge on remembering names, customers' faces. People walk in and I'm like, hey, Bob, hey, Joe. And they're like, I was here like 3 months ago. How did she remember my name? So that's always been my thing. I did it at my dad's restaurant. My brothers and I do it at the pizzeria with my dad. My dad's the same way. It's just something that I feel like was instilled in us, and we picked it up, and people love that. Like they're like, I feel like family when I come into this place. Like they know me on a personal level.
That's great. Do you do delivery too? Is it takeout, delivery, and dine-in?
Yep. Takeout, dine-in, and delivery.
Do you have your own delivery drivers, or do you use third party?
I have my own drivers, and then obviously for DoorDash, Grubhub, Uber Eats, we use third party.
What do you think of the third parties? Like, do you like those? I know I probably know your answer because everybody has the same answer, but I gotta ask.
I love them. What are you talking about?
Yeah, right. Not sarcastic at all.
They are so they don't give up until you sign up with them.
Yeah.
I had to sign up because they would not get off my phones. Like it was insane. Slice was actually the previous owner, I don't think had Slice at all. And I called them and I was like, get in here. Like, now. Everything.
Do they answer your phones too? Do you use the Slice phone?
Oh my God, yes.
How is that?
Bruce, I can't even, I don't, honestly, if I could talk for hours about the phone team and everything. So,
I'm genuinely curious because a lot of people ask me, and obviously this is a Slice podcast and I work with Slice. So they think there's a bias there,
No.
which there is, right? Like obviously I'm going to talk about it, but I genuinely want to talk to people, good or bad, about the experience, because me as an owner, like I know how important the phone is and how people still want to call. But when you're working in the kitchen, it's kind of a pain to answer the phone and like have the phones ringing off the hook. And when you're in the dining room of the pizzeria, hear the phone and the ambiance of just the phone ringing off the hook. It's not a pleasant experience for anybody. So I know how important the phone is, but there's got to be a system where it can work for the pizza shop, but also not be annoying, right? Like just having the phone ring in the kitchen. So I'm genuinely curious how it works and like how it goes.
Okay, so I have to give you a little bit of the backstory as to how this started.
All right,
so
let's do it.
You know, when we went into this business, for me, it was like I made it clear to my husband, I'm not going to kill myself. That's one thing. I'm not going to purchase a business to go in there and be there 12, 13, 14 hours a day. That's not my goal. If that's the case, then I'm not doing it.
Yeah, good. I like.
And it was very like, you know, hire the right staff, train the right team, make sure your recipes are consistent, your food is consistent, everything stays top notch. Now, we also wanted to do exactly that, focus really on online ordering. There's a lot of places in the city that you call and you're like, can I order for delivery? They say, you have to order online. It's just that simple.
Right.
You know, it's that good and you have to order online. The first company that I brought in was Slice. Everybody else was a little bit on the back burner, but because they didn't stop harassing me, I ended up adding everybody. My dad actually had Slice since, I don't know if you were on a call recently, I had mentioned it to Adair, the owner, who had invited me on this Zoom call that they did. You know, my dad has had Slice since Adair was signing personal checks.
Wow.
To pizzerias. Like it was one of the first places that had Slice. And when I brought him here, I didn't have the POS. I had the
just the online ordering.
So I was entering everything manually into the POS that I was using. So what happened was it was just Fridays. My Saturdays are a lot easier than Fridays, believe it or not.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a little different there.
It's probably a town, right? So your whole day is busy on Saturday, right?
Yeah, the whole day. You wake 11 o'clock. It doesn't stop until we close on Saturdays. Between the schools and the families, it's insane. So, and then Fridays, obviously after school and, you know, families.
Right, yeah.
So Fridays and Saturdays was just hectic. I mean, it was me, my two counter girls, the pizza guy, the two guys in the kitchen. I had 2-3 drivers, and I'm like, these phones don't stop.
Yeah.
And the thing is that I am very personable. So I'll be like, hey, Joe, you know, same thing. And then sometimes they want to have conversations about like, you know, how's your daughter and how's this? And I'm like, oh, you know, great, but it's Friday.
Yeah. You don't want to be rude,
you know?
but you're like,
Right.
I got 3 people on hold. There's somebody in front of me and I got to go make a pizza. Can you just like hurry up here a little bit?
So my husband was like, listen, we're in the world of AI, right? Look into AI. So I go on Google, I'm looking at AI and I'm like, all right, I made all these calls. I had scheduled a meeting with somebody. It's the craziest story. People don't believe it when I say it. I had a meeting scheduled for an AI call this day. And this gentleman walks in with a Slice hat and a Slice t-shirt. And he's looking at the pizza on the display. And I'm like, what do you want? And he goes, what do you mean? I said, you're not here for pizza. I said, you're here to sell something. I'm not dumb. What do you want? And he's like, I'm not here to sell anything. What are you talking about? He's like, I just came to grab a slice. I'm like, you're such a liar. But okay, what would you like? He says that I'll have one of those. He's like, okay, but hear me out. I'm like, see, I knew it. You were here for something. So he was actually at my parents' shop before he drove over to mine. And my mom and my brother were there. He was trying to tell them about this, and they were like, listen, we're in the process of renovating right now. So, go here. She may be interested. So I was like, I'm not changing this POS because I'm about to literally throw this one out the window. I'm like, I've had enough with POSs. I'm ready to go back to like paper and pen. And he goes, wait, hear me out. Like, we have a phone team now. And I'm like, what do you mean phone team? This is exactly, let's go sit down. And I'm like, all right, let's have a seat. So he pulls out these recordings and he's like, these are live people. Like, they're live people picking up Pizzeria's phone calls. And I was like, all right, but where are they? And what are you talking? Like, how do they know how to answer my calls? And he explains the whole process to me. You literally have your own account manager, which I have to give him a shout out. His name is Vince. I call him Vic. That is not his name, but that's what I call him. And they are specifically set for you. I had a few other account managers, but the one that I have now is incredible.
Good.
You get an account manager who pretty much handles everything for you. You have a phone team who's designated solely to your shop. There are tons of people that work on the phone team, but each shop has a designated team of phone operators. Now, in the first few 3-4 months, they call it, I forgot what they call it, but it's like the early phase. So they take 50% of the calls, you take the other 50 because they want to hear how you're engaging with the customers, how you're taking the orders, what you're saying to them. So they kind of like shadow you and mirror you to have your style in your place.
They want to answer the phone like you answer the phone, right?
Correct. Yeah. So I was a little nervous. I'm like, listen, I have regulars now, and I'm like, hey, Barbara, you want this, and that. I add it, and I already know what they want when they're ordering. And I was panicking. I'm like, my customers are going to be like, who are you? I was like, all right, let me think about it. Then, of course, everything else is a huge factor, the percentage that they take from the transactions. That was so low. I couldn't believe it. I said, are you kidding? And he's like, no, it was lower than what I was paying having them on the iPad.
It's 3% total, right? 3% total, but like you get the boxes, you get the phone, you get the point of sale system.
They customize your pizza boxes for you. I mean, even the people that deliver the boxes are amazing. So they started answering the phones. I was definitely panicking, but
I bet it's nerve-wracking, especially when you can't hear. At least when you have somebody new answering the phones in the pizza shop. We used to do that too. So what we would do is to train people, we would just be like, answer the phone and just repeat everything they say out loud. Like, I want a large pepperoni pizza. Okay, large pepperoni pizza, no problem. So like, if you get stuck, we can hear what they're saying without hearing what they're saying.
And that's always what I've told everybody too. Just please repeat the orders. Yeah. As long as you repeat the orders, I know everything will be fine. But they created a WhatsApp group chat. There's orders coming through my iPads, because it's on iPads, are ringing new slice order, and I'm looking at it because that's usually what you get for an online order, and it says phone orders. And I'm looking and I'm like, okay, accept. Prints everywhere, in the kitchen, in the pizza station, at the register. I put the slips up and I'm like, all right, I'm not working. This isn't normal. What's going on? But they, when they have questions and they answer the phones in the beginning stages, they don't say, hold on, let me call the pizzeria. They pick up these phones as if they are in the store.
Right.
Your customer will never know that the person answering your phone is not physically there. So, they're also very personable in a way where they'll tell the customer, hang on a second, let me grab Arbery for you. Or a catering order comes through and let me get you Arbery. They don't say I'm going to transfer you. I think that's that must be a huge part of their training. They don't say, you know, I'm going to transfer you over. They say, sure, just one moment, place them on a brief hold, and connect them. And then they're upselling. I listened to the calls in my place recently, and I was like, holy cow. In the end of the call, they said, hey, would you like to add any desserts or drinks to that? The customer says, no, I'm okay. And they goes, oh, you know what? Let me add 2 sodas. And I was like, that's major.
Yeah.
That's huge that people don't realize that, you know, we don't do because we're busy.
Yeah.
We just don't have the time to think, you know, hey, you want dessert? Hey, you want sodas? Their upselling is a huge part of it. On a Friday night, last Friday, I had over 30 tickets come within 5 minutes. And I'm like, this would never happen if I was working and picking up the calls, because they would be on hold.
Right.
Because they have so many representatives there answering the phones. They pick up the phone, the next one picks it up. There's no background noise. You don't hear everyone in the pizzeria. The people in the pizzeria don't hear the phones off the hook. So, you know, the customer is like, okay, I'm giving a call. I'm not being put on hold 10 times. You know, it was just wild. There's Friday nights I would have one headset on this side, and I'm picking up this one, telling them hold while this one's upside down, cutting pizza, trying to serve someone at the counter. And now my phone never rings. It's up to the point that they're at 100% of the calls now.
Wow.
The phones never ring. It's a blessing. It's seriously, if I could go to pizzerias all around the world and be like, listen, you need this in your life will be 1,000,000 times easier, I would do it.
You're doing it right now, virtually.
It's just huge. And there's also a very like sentimental, emotional thing for me. They're based out of Kosovo. So my background is Albanian.
Okay.
And my family is originally from Kosovo. So my parents came here in their very, very early 20s for a better life. You know, they left that country. And I was there this summer. I went there for 2 weeks. I actually surprised the phone team on one of the nights. They had no idea I was going.
Did you answer phones from Kosovo, from your pizzeria while you were there?
No, you can't. I might have. No, I was open. I was definitely open.
Oh, because the time difference. So yes, you might not even been
Yeah,
open.
time difference because they're 6 hours ahead there. They're working till like 5 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah,
which
yeah.
people also don't know, which is insane. And I went there, I surprised them. It was just, I started crying my eyes out. So I was like, you know, my dad left this country with my mom. They opened a pizzeria in America, and here I am, 38 years later, sitting here, like standing with the people answering the phones in my pizzeria. It was just so surreal, and I just started crying, and they were like, oh my goodness. And half of them were, you know, blowing their face. My daughter's like, Mommy, I think you made 2 of the girls cry.
That's a great story.
They're amazing. We have a WhatsApp chat. If I run out of, we have slices for them to order, or cans, you know, the sodas, everything like that. I'll send them a quick text, and I'm like, guys, we're out of this. They're like, all right, we're on it. We got it. It's not something that it's like I have to call and wait on hold. I text them. Whoever's the lead of the chat lets the team know they're out of this for today. Just so you guys are aware, don't take any orders. They're very, very, very good at what they do. They're incredible. Their English is, I mean, it's remarkable to think that they're not from here. They're not born and raised here. And their English is, I mean, I'm just so impressed at what they do. I'm so proud of them. One of the girls left a few months back, and she had sent me a message. You know, she said, I just wanted to thank you for everything. You're one of the best bosses I've worked for. And, you know, that really like hit me, because I said, you know, I didn't know that that's how they see me. But they see you like you're their boss. They check in every morning. They say good morning. It's like it's like your employee coming into work for the day.
It's like they're in an office, in the back office, so they don't have to be in front of everybody. And then you just concentrate on doing what they do, which is talking to the customers on the phone.
Right. They're just amazing. I mean, I'm
That's
so
great.
grateful. I
That's
am grateful, and I'm so happy I didn't kick Anthony out.
it's good too because the customers are getting the experience they want, which is still calling. But the
Oh yeah.
you as the owner is getting the experience that you want, which is just have everybody order online. So to you, it's no different than online, but they're
Yeah.
getting a good experience.
And one day I had one of our regulars who lives close by. He walked in, he saw only me there, and he's like, "Was that you on the phone?" I said, "Nope." He goes, "That wasn't the other girl." I said, "Nope." He goes, "This is who picked up the phone." And then I told him the story. He goes, "What?" He goes, "I had no idea. That's incredible. I thought you hired someone new." I was like, "That's so good to hear that feedback because that's always my fear. What if the customers are like, they don't know what they're doing, but they know everything. They have
Yeah,
the whole menu in front of them. They know the pasta options. They know what the toppings for the pizza, your desserts, your drinks, everything you have. They know it. It's in front of them."
that's great. I'm excited to hear that because I think that's going to be something that a lot of people are going to be want to investigate, but they want to hear stories like that of like, all right, how does it work? Pizza shop owners are skeptical. Like you said of that guy coming in, you're like, what do you want? You're not just here for a slice. Like we got people coming in here
You're
3 or 4
always
times a day for something. Just get to it.
It's true. It's true. No, I really I recommend them. Once my dad finishes this renovation in the back of the restaurant, I mean, I'm gonna go there and with my brothers and my parents and help them out with that because it's almost like an onboarding thing the first few months. Now that I know how it works, it's a lot easier for my family to get into it
Right.
because I'll explain this is what they do and this is how it's done. In the beginning, it's a little, you're a little confused because you don't know what to expect. You don't know what's going to happen, but it's amazing. Even like my regulars order every day. I had another customer yesterday. She came in. She's like, "They're great. They're so great." She goes, "They do such a great job every time I call."
That's great. All right. If you're listening to this podcast, go to slice.com/referrals and put Arbery's name in there. Give Arbery some money for referring you on the podcast here. Get some referral fees going on over there from Slice. That's going to be good. What are you excited about? So you've been open for 2 years now. You're doing pretty well. What are you excited about the future for you guys?
I wanted to say I'm excited to open my second place, but
Oh,
I
nice.
do. But I've thought about it, and I don't think
One's enough.
I think one's enough.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm excited. I'm in a great area, which is really cool. We're right by MetLife Stadium. FIFA is coming up real soon,
Okay.
so that's going to be huge coming up this year. We're right by Giant Stadium, American Dream. We get a lot of customers that come to visit, stay at hotels, I love where we are for that reason. And then on top of that, the residents, the companies that are there. But I am excited. I do eventually want to open another one, but I don't. I heard your story. I was actually watching one of your podcasts where I think you said you opened a second place
Yes.
and you looked a little
It didn't go
about
great. It didn't go. It didn't. So we had one location really busy, high volume sales, and we opened a second location. And we were young and dumb, and we just carbon copied the first one to the second one, and it was just a big mistake. We shouldn't have done that because there was just too many things for new people to learn. It was a smaller community, so there was more inventory. It just if I could go back and do it all over again, I enjoyed opening the second location because it was something different. But I would have way scaled back the menu to start. I would have started with 20% of the menu to start, just so the people that were there could get comfortable working, right? And then over time, add more things. And I think it would have been way better for us because we had a good reputation, so we got slammed in the beginning. And just new people trying to do that many things, we took for granted that we were there for so long that our team was so seasoned that they just could do it easily. And the new people it was just harder for them.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And it was
That
like this. You learn a lot though, right? Like that was a really big learning experience for me. So when I do open another one, I'll take from both of those, and hopefully it'll work better.
that'll be fun.
Yeah.
That's good. But on top of just really quick, Bruce, if you
Yeah.
don't mind me
No, go
saying,
ahead.
on top of the phone service for Slice, um, I meant to mention like the iPad and everything that they offer. You know, I have the app on my phone, and when I'm not there,
The
I'm
owner's app, right?
yeah, I'm looking at all my live orders.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'll get an order, and I'll text it, I'll screenshot it, text the counter girl, and I'm like, hey, can you go tell the chef to make sure there's 3 here, and just in case he's not, I don't want him missing anything. And she's like, I'm on it. It's amazing because even when you're not there as an owner, which most owners have a difficult time being away because they want to see everything,
Right.
they're able to see that. I had mentioned to our account manager, I had said, hey, please find a way to do deliveries, kind of like Uber Eats and Grubhub and DoorDash does. And he's like, relax, we're on it. I was like, okay. So I think they're working on something called Flex Delivery now too, which is huge because you can turn that on, set your mile radius even further than you already have it, and go out of town for people that do want to order from you but can't because you don't have drivers to go out that far.
Yep.
Which is huge. I'm excited for that too. So it's like it's a lot that I feel like Slice is just so helpful for this industry.
Yeah, I agree. I that's why I'm part of the team. Like that's why I joined. I think Alir, and I know a lot that's going on behind the scenes that is coming up in the future, but I don't want to get a text from Alir saying, why did you talk about that on the podcast? We said not to do that yet. So I'm going to hold some of those in.
That's amazing. I'm so proud
but there
of
is
him.
there is a lot that's coming up on the roadmap for the next few months. And the thing that I enjoy most is like their whole goal is just pizza shops. It's not, bagel places, which are great, coffee shops, which are great, but our focus is just for pizza people. So that's why I think every feedback that they get from owners or conversations that they have is good for them to build a better product for people like us, right?
Yeah, no, that's amazing.
So this is great. I had a great.
Good luck on your place.
I know. Knock on wood. Nothing's set in stone yet, and I'm hesitant to talk about it until it really is set in stone. But I'm excited. I think it's going to be a good experience, and I think it's going to be fun. And I'm excited to kind of document that journey on YouTube and on the podcast here, and have everybody kind of follow along. So more to come on that.
Good. That'll be fun.
But thank you.
For you.
I had a great time talking to you. This is so much fun. I enjoy this conversation a lot, and I appreciate you coming on. Where can people go say hello to you if they want to reach out to after this podcast? They want to say hello or have a question or something.
Thank you so much for everything, Bruce. I appreciate you having here. If you guys want to order from us, our website is AmadeoPizzeria.com. You can just click the order now button. I'm Arberie, so if you guys want to find me, it's very easy. Arberie.
And Amadeo is Amadeo pizzeria.com. Just thinking for those who are like me and have oh no, how do you spell that? I want to make sure I get the right one. And same thing on Instagram too, by the way.
Yes.
And we'll link all that up
on
in
Instagram and TikTok. Yeah. We're not big on TikTok, but I just opened that recently. So
okay, good.
We'll start there too.
All right, excellent. We'll link all that up in the show notes for this episode. Don't go anywhere yet, Arbery, but thank you so much for hanging out with me on the podcast. It was great talking to you.
Thank you, Bruce.
Arbery, thank you so much for joining me on the podcast. Thank you for tuning in. Don't forget to hit subscribe, hit like, and if you want to visit Arbery's Pizzeria, we will link everything up in the description below this video. And again, if you have some questions about Slice Phone, or if you want to make some money with Slice referrals, slice.com/referrals. If you want to make some extra cash, go check out slice.com for all the information on phone that we talked about in here. You can also message Arbery on Instagram. She's very open and available if you want to ask her any questions about how the process has gone for her. She's deep into it, so I think that's going to be a good place for that. Thank you so much for tuning in. We'll see you right back here next week, everybody.